What is going on, everybody? Driving me insane at this point. I'm not going to lie to you, but appreciate you tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Wednesday. But we are here, and we have the game status report for week 2. Of course, the game is on Thursday, so all these things getting jumbled together. I will have that top 10 matchups video dropping later tonight. But look, we've got some information here on who's out, who's questionable for both teams. So we're going to jump right into it. Appreciate each and every one of you taking the time here today. Bear with me as we get these things worked out. But look, I hope you're all having a great week. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But let's jump right into it with the Eagles news. And we knew we had a bunch of injuries here. Clearly, Nakobe Dean going to IR, adding linebackers to the active roster, practice squad, making all kinds of moves. That was clearly something that happened earlier in the week. But, Reed Blankenship and James Bradberry are out in the secondary when going up against Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, DJ Hawkinson. So, some intriguing news there. You've got Kenny Gainwell, who is also out, who clearly was the number one running back. But then you have Fletcher Cox, who is questionable there. So, look, you talk about Fletch. There's a lot of D tackles here, but that's intriguing. Now, let's take a look at the Eagles reserves, who's already been out here. And you have on IR, clearly some of these guys that happened earlier, Bradley, Roderick Johnson, McPherson, and Sermon. But then Nakobe Dean just placed on there. Clearly, Isaiah Rodgers out for this season, who is suspended. But that is where some of these players, if you're wondering where they're at, but let's take a look at this updated depth chart now with these injuries added in. So Kenneth Gainwell, he is out. So now you have DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, and Boston Scott. But Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch last week. They really like what Boston Scott brings. Not so much with Rashad Penny. So that's intriguing. But in this game, he's going to have to be active. You're going to need Swift, Scott, Penny, all to chip in here. And clearly, even if Kenny Gainwell were playing, we need to see more DeAndre Swift. More than one carry, one catch. Bullshit. So get this offense going. I know it was week 1, a lot of rust. So feeling confident this team gets things together here, gets clicking on offense. We clearly need it. This defense held their own, but we need this offense to get going here, get a nice victory. But you see, Kenny Gainwell is out. So, man, maybe he loses, his huge lead that he had there. If DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny get in here, get a chance to go out and do their thing. But then on the defensive side of the ball, we talked about it. Bradberry and Blankenship both out. Cox is questionable, but I feel just fine at defensive tackle with all of the depth we have there, not just Milton Williams, but Katavius Street, Marlon Tuipulotu is there. So you've got some depth there. Ojomo will come along eventually. You see, edge rushers need to get things going here, but love the depth there. Linebacker, you see with Nakobe Dean out now, Ellis and Cunningham are probably your starters. Morrow is probably going to get some reps too, more of a coverage linebacker. We're going to need that in this game, so going to be intrigued to see how the Eagles use the linebackers here. And then you've got, in the secondary here, as we talked about, Bradberry out. So Josh Jobe is most likely going to be stepping in here. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of him. We talked about him last year making this squad. He did it again this year with all of that depth there. So they really like this kid. I love his toughness. You heard me compare him last year to James Bradberry. So he's filling in for him, and he's got a tough matchup with Jordan Addison here. And, they're going to obviously be focusing on Jefferson and Hawkinson, but Jordan Addison is not anyone to sleep on here. Then you've got Avonte Maddox. Obviously, he's going to hold his own. But in the safety position, Reed Blankenship being out, that sucks. Justin Evans was horrible this past game. So I was hoping it would be Sidney Brown and Blankenship. I don't think they were going to rush to have Sidney Brown starting quite yet, but at least give him some defensive snaps. But, obviously he is going to be worked into this defense. It might have to be a lot sooner rather than later. So, look, I think we need to see all three of them. I would really just prefer not to see much of Justin Evans, but hey, it is what it is. But Sidney Brown, go get you some. Now, into the special teams area, no injuries happened there. You can see how this roster, clearly they're bringing up punter and punt returner. We'll see if they continue to do that. I think they do. But look, with injuries to other positions, maybe they want to bring somebody else up. You got a lot of corner depth. I'm not sure you would have to do that. But you can take a look here at the Eagles practice squad, and that was just filled out for how they had it. Quez was their kick returner last week, so I would have it differently. But you can see here the practice squad. I don't think, again, you need to bring anybody up from offense because of Kenny Gainwell. On defense, don't know that maybe, Tristan McCullum, but I don't think that you're really going to use him. So special teams help we may need with some guys out, and these depth pieces having to play. Clearly, Sidney Brown and Josh Jobe, our gunners, they are important pieces of that special teams. So to me, I think that clearly, other guys are going to have to step up. So we'll see what they decide to do here. But I could see them just going with Sippos and Covey again. But I think, clearly you need a punter. So you're going to have Sippos. But Covey you could do without. You could really just have Alameda Zacchaeus back there. Let him return these punts and, if you need another position. But that's if they feel they need it. I don't know that that's going to be the case here. So for me, these suck. Injuries always suck. But we knew with this short schedule what the NFL was trying to do. We knew this kind of stuff was going to happen. We talked about it all damn offseason. So no surprise here, really. So you got to, next man up. You got to have that mentality. And we as fans, we just got to hope that these other guys step it up. The defense and offense, they know what they're doing here. So let's effing go. But on to the Viking side, we talked about this week. They have some important injuries here as well. So look, this happens in the NFL, people pissed off, Nakobe Dean's a bust, Bradberry sucks, everybody sucks because they're hurt. And it's like, oh, God, hurt sucks, everybody. And the overreactions from week one are hilarious every single year. But, when you look at the opposing teams like the Vikings, they also have injuries. They lost, though. They're 0-1. They lost to the Buccaneers. So that's not Bill Belichick, just letting you know. But, hey, it is what it is. People sleep on this Eagles team. Let them. Now, let's take a look here. We talked about their center leaving the game in week one, and he is now out for this game. So you had Austin Schlottman we talked about, so he'll step in there. But Christian Darrisaw, their left tackle, is questionable. And edge rusher Marcus Davenport. He missed week one, so they'd love to have him. A good addition there for them, but we'll see where it goes for them. Now, the reserves, as you saw, behind enemy lines, if you caught it, learning everything about the Eagles' opponent each week. So go check those videos out. But you could see that they've already got some guys on the reserves, and anybody in yellow is new to the team this season. So you can see they've got some guys, nobody too important here, but if you're wondering where any of the players were, now their returner, Kenny Nguanu, he actually is pretty important, and they're hoping to get him back in week 5. Now, talked about it, their center being out. He didn't play much. He was out, and Schlottman came in, and he actually did pretty well. He actually, I think, is better than Bradberry, but he graded out better and looked better, but it is what it is. Take it as you will. I think, maybe that would be better for them to have him, but it is what it is, honestly, because Schlottman isn't anything to write home about. I'm not saying that the guy, was out here doing fantastic things, but, I think for me, this team, we should be able to get some sacks, stop the run here. But, having their left tackle questionable, you see Olasamika Udo was the guy actually who stepped in at left tackle, not Questenberry, the rookie. So if they have to go to him, that could be very intriguing for them. And this Eagles pass rush will need to get to him. We'll talk about that tonight in the top 10 matchups. But it would be very unfortunate if they are missing their left tackle along with that center there. So again, I feel like their center being out, that's good for them. That's an upgrade, in my opinion. But moving on, looking at the defense, Marcus Davenport being questionable here for them. They had DJ Wonham step in. They've got Pat Jones and Andre Carter there if they need. But look, this defense, I'm not really afraid of it. And we're going to talk about it tonight. But I do think that Brian Flores, he likes to bring the house blitz. And we got blitzed a lot last week from Bill Belichick. So I think Flores is going to try to do the same thing here and maybe a little bit more. And, not the same things because they don't have, the players that the Patriots have, and they don't have that same multiple, scheme defense that the Patriots, and obviously we like to try to run a variation of that, but Bill Belichick's his own man and he's got his own ideas there. So, look, Brian Flores, still a decent defensive coordinator here, a great defensive mind, but I'm not worried about it, man. But you see no changes there, although I did change Ivan Pace as starter. He took over for Asamoah, even though it was presumed that Asamoah would be starter. You can see the special teams here. No updates there for them. No injuries to any of those guys. But if they need to elevate anyone, they want to bring up, somebody, guard one of the offensive linemen, because left tackle may be out, your center, you want to slide somebody, all kinds of things that, they could do. They've got Tyrese Robinson there, ex-Eagle. So they've got some options, a few offensive linemen. Then on the defensive side of the ball, maybe you bring up Villain or Whitley if Marcus Davenport's out and you don't feel comfortable with the pass rush you have. But they do have some options there. That's all I've got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. If you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. You got any questions, any comments on this? I would love to hear it. Tonight, going to be dropping that top 10 matchups to be watching in the game tomorrow. If you're going to the game, let me know. Would love up to meet with some of you that I haven't met. Some of you I already have. You know where to find me. Lottie, let's go. But we'll be throwing down tomorrow. Hope to see you there. But I hope to see you tonight for those top 10 matchups. But until then, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all have yourselves a great rest of your night. You stay safe out there. And as always, go hard!